This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Ken Poisson, 6th District Councilman and Chairman of the Building Needs Committee. I'm going to call our meeting of February 6, 2023 to order at 5:31 p.m. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. I'll take a motion to approve our January 3rd meeting minutes.
So moved. Bob.
Someone like to second that?
Alan Llewellyn, second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is ongoing items. 3A is Board of Ed buildings and A1 is Stratford High School renovations. John Casey, do you want to take us through that email, the retainage, another retainage release like we've been doing periodically as we start to finally get to the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, this is just the subcontractor's release of retainage, similar to what you approved last month. It's just letting you know that the subs are getting paid their final payments. And then once you say it's okay, then Turner will bill us and we'll make a payment to Turner. This is not the release of Turner's retainage, which we're still holding, several $100,000.
Right, this is just like we've been doing for the individual contractors.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have that dollar amount in front of me, what the final total is. John, can you read that off for me?
I have it, Mr. Chairman.
Or Alan, go ahead, thank you.
Yeah, I will make a motion to accept approval letter number 212 for all electric in the final contract value of $621,270.
Is there a second?
Second, Ron.
Second.
Hey, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The chair votes aye and the motion carries unanimously. Alan or John, is there anything else under Stratford High?
No, not really officially. I mean, am I speaking out of turn, or have we put the plaque in the rearview mirror?
The plaque is Chris Timniak and I did a final review of it the end of last week, and we replied to Tim, and it's about 99.9% ready for final go ahead. So it's
Okay,
not.
so it's just that one. Yeah, just that one last little item that's in question.
Yeah, there was a couple of there was the last couple of after looking at it 5 billion times and you look at it 5 billion and one and you notice something else. So we're just going to try to make sure we did the best we could with everybody's names, and it's very close. It's inches away from the goal line.
All right, yeah, sounds good. That's kind of was my understanding as well. So just in terms of kind of things moving forward, I guess anything through you would come to me in terms of having Turner or Craig on one of these calls. I think in the next, if not the next meeting, the next meeting after, we should definitely kind of have them on to get an update as to where they are in terms of documentation. I'm hoping to see more of these approval letters next month and the month after. I imagine that their last one, their challenging one, is going to be either the electrician and or the HVAC contractor, just because those contracts had some kind of challenging items that were among the last pieces to be done. But other than that, we're just, like you said, moving forward with closeout and trying to get closer to the end. Thank you.
Okay, item A2 is open work orders for the Board of Ed, and those were emailed out to us ahead of time, as always, to help expedite the meeting. Does anybody have any questions for Rich on or Dan?
Dan is on.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I'm here.
Dan.
Caitlin, go ahead.
Thank you. Dan, it looks like mostly in January were the heating and HVAC issues that were reported addressed or resolved? at multiple schools?
Not all of them. We're constantly working on them. We're taking care of most of the emergencies. We've been pretty good this year. We've been lucky with the HVAC. There's rooms here and there that we're having problems with that we address, but all in all, it's actually been a good year for us as far as keeping the heating going. It might not look it by the work orders, but we've been on top of it. It's been pretty good this year.
Okay, so the work orders that came in for January have been addressed?
Yes. Been addressed or being addressed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Sal Llewellyn.
Yes, Al.
Just want to add very quickly here. In addition to the Building Needs Committee, I also sit on the Board of Education and Planning Committee, and I just haven't heard it from Rich Ruggiero, and was able to thank him. I also want to say the same thing to Dan as well. Rich explained to us that there's actually vendors that have been coming in, not town resources, have been coming in on weekends to kind of work through weekends and try to take care of, similar, typical items. One case in point, there's a vendor that I believe was in working on valves, and they've also brought in a carpentry, outside carpenter to take care of, bunches of those miscellaneous items as, time and building space allow. So, Dan, I was very happy to hear that we're going about taking care of things, trade specific in that way to keep these lists as small as possible. So thank you.
I'm sorry, I think I lost my audio, so I don't know if anybody's talking to me. I can't hear them.
Don't worry about it. Just smile. It was all good news.
Of course, I had to miss that. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dan. All right, I'm all set, Ken. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, anything else for Board of Ed? Okay, item 3B is general buildings, the town buildings. The open work orders and building repairs on the town side were also emailed out to us ahead of time, as always, to help expedite the meeting. Does anybody have any questions for Dan on town buildings?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Caitlin.
Dan, the EMS headquarters had several requests that had come in January. Have those been addressed?
They have. All the heating ones have been addressed. There are a few doors that we're still having problems with. We have a company in there, they have the card readers, and some of them are obsolete. We replaced a few of them. I think there's one more that needs to be replaced. We just have a hard time getting them because there's not too many of them left out there.
Okay, and the electrical work orders for EMS also?
I believe they're just about all done. There might be a few that just came in that we didn't get to yet, but we addressed the lights, we addressed some outlets that they've had.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
The health department heating rec that came in?
Excuse me?
The health department heating request that came in?
There's one for the room, I think room 106 is complete in the Alpha building. There's one in the nurses area. We're waiting, we had to order a three-way valve to replace, and that's on order. As soon as it comes in, we'll install it.
Okay, thank you. And
You're
then I have
welcome.
one more question. At the police department, the HVAC request that came through?
Which one was that? I'm not sure.
That was the oil leak in the description?
We're not sure what that was. That came under HVAC. I went out there with the roofer because we thought it might be tar coming in from one of the pitch boxes for the antenna that was dripping through. Well, we couldn't find any evidence of it, and everything was dry. So we replaced the lens on the light and replaced the ceiling tile, and we're just keeping an eye on it. We're not really sure where that came from.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, any other questions for Dan on town buildings, town property? All right, Dan, item B2 is booth. Anything going on at booth since our last meeting?
No, the biggest thing is we're getting a lot of water in the basement at the homestead. So I met there with Tom Albert, the highway superintendent, and we're going to dig some drainage around the building to collect the water from the rain leaders, from the downspouts from the gutters. and run them off. We found a catch basin we could run them into. So we're going to do that and then try to do a little waterproofing and hope we could resolve that problem as much as we could.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Dan.
I think, Dan, part of the problem too is do they get cleaned out, those gutters? Because you got that big tree that's overlooking
Yes,
the homestead there.
Yes, we were actually just on the roof a few weeks ago. That one tree drops all the pine needles. So we were
Yeah.
up there with leaf blowers and we cleaned the gutters out. So everything's cleared now.
All right, good.
But that's an
Perfect.
ongoing thing. We schedule that regularly because it's so bad.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for Dan? All right, Dan, as always, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, item 4 is new business. Does anybody have any new business? Okay, item 5 is our next regular meeting date, first Monday in March at 5:30 as usual. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Dan Senft.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey, thank you very much, everybody, for your work. As always, we are adjourned at 5:43 p.m.